Welcome back. Let's get into the issues that people have when they're buying real estate as far as the biggest mistakes people make. Maybe you've made these mistakes. I see these happen all the time. And whenever I'm communicating with someone, whenever I'm talking to someone and they tell me how they purchased their property, it's a soft chuckle at first. And then I have little tears of sadness because I realize that they just didn't know what they didn't know. And ignorance is very expensive. So let me explain what most people do, and then we can go from there. So I'll go through a conversation that I had very recently with one of my followers. They were like, I want to buy in Washington, D.C. I'm like, any reason? They're like, nope, I have family there, and that's why I want to buy there. I'm like, okay. So then the next step would be to pick up a phone and call a real estate agent. So they call a real estate agent, and the first thing the agent asks, so they're not wasting their time, because no agent wants to work hard and not get paid. You don't want to work hard and not get paid. So they're pre-qualifying to make sure that the person that's calling, that could be you, let's say we're going to call it you for a second. You called, they want to know that they can get paid, and they want to know, hey, are you pre-qualified? Do you have a proof of funds letter or a letter from a bank or an institution that says that you can buy something, and for what amount, so we know where to look. Makes sense. So if you're not, then you would call a bank or a lender that maybe the agent recommended, and you would go through a rigmarole of getting pre-approved, pre-qualified, figure out how much cash you have, and from your credit score and from your the pre-qualification letter or the cash that you have on hand, they'll figure out a budget. Because if you have generally no money and no credit, the agent's going to tell you to go, pound sand. No thanks. Going to be a waste of time. But if you have decent credit and no money, then again, you're in a pickle because most banks will want 20% down. And, I get it. That's just generally how it's worked for, millions of years. That's what most are programmed with. So if, you have some cash, then you're going to qualify based on the amount of cash and the reserves that you need to be able to get qualified. Then they're going to give you a letter. Nice little letter on their letterhead. You're going to give that over to the real estate agent, and the agent's going to say, cool, this is the price range that we're going to look in, and they're going to give you a list of properties that you can take a look at. They're going to send you that list. Then most likely you're going to invest quite a bit of time researching each property, researching the area, going over the criteria that you're maybe looking for, and just find the best 5, 6, 2, or 3, whatever number of properties that you want to be able to take a look at in usually the shortest amount of time. Let's take next Thursday, let's go fly over, or Saturday, let's go fly over to Washington, D.C. I'm going to assume that you don't live in the area, or if you do, it's across town. Let's take a day or 2 days or a weekend and just go check out as many properties as we can. So you do that, you go take a look at as many properties as you can, and that might be a week or 2 later, depending on what your schedule is. You get over to Washington, D.C., you enjoy the sights, the sounds, the food, great place, by the way, and you look at all these properties. And then you take a couple of days, you go through each property multiple times, you narrow it down to maybe the one that you want to make an offer on, and you sit down with the agent at some coffee shop. You write up an offer of some kind that is fairly aggressive because the agent has lots of people are taking a look at this. So you should put an offer as quickly as you can, and of course for as high as you can, because you don't want to lose this. This is a great opportunity. Okay, so you write up the offer. In fact, the agent writes up the offer because that's their job, and then they ask for a check that goes with the offer so they can see that you're serious. And that's just generally how it works. They use their paperwork, and you submit the offer, and you hope it gets accepted. So pretty cool. You're waiting and you're waiting, and maybe it gets accepted, and whoa, it gets accepted. You're all happy. You're doing a little pee-pee dance. You got your first property offer. Your first property offer accepted. You're pleased. And next thing you know, you're like, okay, what comes next? So the agent generally walks you down what to do next. You open escrow, or get an attorney, or go to a title company, depending on the state, and you basically follow the steps, get all the insurances that are necessary before the deal closes, and next thing you know, you own the property, and you get a management company, hopefully, and they start managing it. Or if you're not in the area, you're going to have to do that. or if you've got balls of steel, you cannot have a management company and manage it yourself from afar, as some people do. But that's generally how most people go down the line in buying a property. Does that sound about right? I think it does. Except, guess how many of those steps are correct? The answer is 0. None of these steps are accurate at all. In fact, everything that I've just said is completely wrong in buying investment property. And I know that might sound ridiculous, like how else would you do it? And that's exactly what I want to discuss next. All right. So the first step that I had is find an area based on what your desires are. Well, that's something that I never do. I'm always looking for property that have the highest possible return, and I don't care where the property is. If the property is in Chicago, or the property is in Orlando, or the property is in Tampa, or the property is in Birmingham, Alabama, or the property is in New Jersey, I don't care. The property has tenants that pay checks, and those checks go to the management company that in turn get passed on to me. So whether the property is next door or across the street or across the country, it really is irrelevant, because the check will cash the same no matter where the property is in the United States, because I'm not going to manage this property. It is forbidden. If you are wanting to have volume, a lot of assets, a lot of tenants, it's impossible for you to manage these things. You have to get a management company to do this for you. You absolutely have to. So if they're doing all the work, it doesn't matter where the property is. The management company is an expert, you're not. And if you are, that's fine, but it's still the management company's job to do the work, not yours. So let the management company do what the management company does and collect checks. So it doesn't matter where the property is. I could sit down with you and have as many conversations as you want. Well, I want to be next to it. I want to be near it. If you want to touch it, lick it, and hump it every single day, that's up to you. But I'm looking for the best possible returns, not ego. My ego's not out of this, because I can't pay my bills on the property being next to me that makes a terrible return. But I can pay my bills if it's in Toad Suck Ferry, Arkansas, and it's making me $5,000 a month. Then guess what? I'm going to buy a property in Toad Suck Ferry, Arkansas, because it makes me a net $5,000 a month. If I didn't have any money involved, it's a phenomenal deal. Doesn't matter where it is. But we're going to get into that a little bit later. So location is important as long as the returns are there. And that's our real big underscore. So if the returns suck, I don't want to buy it. So if I'm buying something in Washington, D.C., as one of my followers approached me and says, can you help me buy a property in Washington, D.C.? And I asked why, didn't really have an answer. Are the returns the best in that area? Can you find the right deal for the right price in order to get the right returns? And if the answer is no, then don't buy there. Because again, this is based on returns, on what I can cash flow so I can take care of my family, the bills that I have, and really build a good future for myself. So cash flow is very important the day that I walk into a property, okay? So that's number one. Location does matter as long as the returns are there, so you have to have an understanding a little bit of the market in order to do that. Okay. Number two is you call a real estate agent for properties that are available. Now, here's the issue with this. Now, I work with agents a lot, and I'm no way, shape, or form bashing agents, because I love them. They're important. There's some incredibly phenomenal agents out there, and it's an integral part of your business. However, buying properties online that are because we are going to be online. That are listed is the first mistake. Because if a property is listed, guess what? It's already not a good deal. Because how it generally works is a property owner that is fairly motivated, and again, we're trying to deal with motivated sellers. If you've watched past episodes, we're talking about the 5 Ds. The 5 Ds are why people sell at huge discounts. If you haven't watched that episode, please watch it. And it explains how you can get dramatic discounts of people that really need to sell quickly. Now, when they need to sell quickly, they generally call a real estate agent, and the real estate agent will know what they really want for the property. And before it even gets put on the MLS or on a commercial listing service, it's going to go to the agent's list of buyers that can write a check for it right away. So in most cases, the good deals never hit the market. So if you're looking for an off-market deal, and you didn't ask for that in my example at all, because you don't know to ask for those things, and in most cases the agent won't even give it to you because they don't know who you are yet. They're not going to give you their best deals to someone that has never bought a property before. Very unlikely that that's going to happen. So they're going to give you properties that are listed, which means they're not really discounted properties. If I want to go to Costco, if I want to, I love Costco, by the way. I have an unhealthy relationship with Costco, meaning that I like going to Costco and buying a pallet of toilet paper. Because I don't know why. I just like buying pallets of things. It doesn't make any sense, but I rather enjoy going to Costco. It's creepy how much I enjoy going to Costco. Anyway, I don't even want to talk about it because I'm just be like, yes, Costco. Let's forget about this episode. I'm going to Costco. Yeah. So when I'm going to Costco, I'm expecting some sort of discount because I'm buying it in volume, right? Now like this store because I feel like I get value. I buy things at discounts. I have quality products, and I want to buy it basically at wholesale, right? At a wholesale price. Now, where does Costco shop? That's where you want to buy. So there's retail, which is the MLS, there's wholesale, and then there's under wholesale. And the secret to making money in real estate is always buying it at the right price. You have to buy it under wholesale in order to make money the day you buy it. Now, you could buy it wholesale, but I would prefer to buy it under wholesale, if that makes any sense. And there's zero chance I'm going to find that property on the MLS through a real estate agent. So hopefully that makes sense. So as an investor, as someone that wants to buy properties and make money the day that I buy it through cash flow and through equity, I have to buy it under wholesale. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Number 3 is the agent is pre-qualifying me. All right. Now that makes sense, again, because the agent doesn't want to waste their time, but you should have your money lined up before you call an agent and posture yourself like you are a buyer. Talk like a buyer. Act like you're a buyer. Now, if you've never done it before, it's going to be difficult for you to do that. But if you're trained before you start buying, before you go into the ring and a UFC fight, you train before you go into the fight, right? You do a lot of training and then you have your first fight. Well, this is the same thing. You got to train first, and you don't want to train in the ring because you're going to get clobbered. You're going to get killed. You're going to get taken advantage of. They're going to know that you don't know what you're doing. They're going to destroy you. We don't want that for you. So it's important to get trained and have the right knowledge and language and communication skills. So when you're talking to an agent, even if you've never done this before, you sound like you've been doing it for 100 years. That's the point. And that's what I really enjoy helping people with, as you can hopefully tell. So then we go into, where do we get the money? Well, in a lot of my episodes, if I haven't talked about it already, I will be talking about asset-based lending, which is if you get the right property at the right price, you're going to be able to buy whatever you want. And there are ways of giving an agent this information where they know exactly what to look for off-market properties, and they just bring it to you like, a golden retriever wagging their tail going, I found it, and they get paid. And the beauty of real estate agents is that they'll do the work and they get a commission and it's paid by the seller. It's not paid by us. Well, we're paying for it in that we're paying a higher price, but it's worth it because they're doing the legwork in order to bring us exactly what we're looking for. So if you know how to give this information to an agent, they're going to go find it, bring it to you, and they're going to make money, and you're going to make money, and everyone's going to be happy. So that's really great. So now you're telling the agent what to do versus the agent telling you what to do. So there's a significant difference in the first example that I was communicating with. So understand that. So first, we're going to be in control because, and this is important, because we need to stay in control, because if you let an agent or a seller or someone else control something, what happens when you lose control of your vehicle? That's right, you crash. So you don't want to get into that crash situation. So we're asking an agent very specifically what we're looking for. We're going to tell them what to do. And the next thing on the list was they're going to give you a list of properties. We want a list of properties that are off market, not on market. And the next thing is you're going to do a lot of research. Now, we don't do any research on any property until we first figure out the numbers. Now, that is extremely counterintuitive to most people that are in the real estate business. Most people want to take a look at it first. They want to touch it, smell it. They want to feel it. They want to lick it. They want to, hug it. They want to do everything around it in order to make sure that it's a good deal first. The problem with that is if it is a good deal and you spent all that time, and I'm going to say spent all that time, because the word spend is very important, because time is not something you should spend. It's something that you should invest, because we don't have that much of it at all. So we want to be as efficient as possible when we're doing the business or anything. So I don't want to make offers, excuse me, I don't want to do research on properties that I'm not going to have a contract on. So I'm actually going to first make soft offers just by email to every property that comes across my desk. Doesn't matter what it is. There's a very strategic process to this. But if I see 20 properties come across my desk, all 20 properties get an offer within seconds. And it's not very hard. You crunch numbers very quickly, which if you stick in this podcast series or this video series, I'm going to share with you how to do this very, very quickly, so you can see right away if this is a good deal or a bad deal, just by a glance on the numbers. Now, I have no idea if the condition of the property, it could be falling apart. The numbers might look great, but the condition's terrible, so we're going to pass. The numbers might look great, but the location is awful, and we're going to pass. But at least we know the numbers make sense first, because again, we're buying property, at least I'm buying property, based on numbers and cash flow, because I can't pay my bills without cash flow. So if the property's in great condition but it has terrible numbers, I'm not buying it anyway. So we start with numbers, okay? So we're going to get a list, but we're not going to make an offer on one. We're going to make an offer on all of them, but a soft offer. And there's a way of doing that where you're and by the way, they're going to be low soft offers, because the next thing and mistake that most make is they make an offer and they hope it gets accepted. That's terrible, because if it gets accepted, you paid too much. Real estate is one of the last things that you can buy that's negotiable. It's fully negotiable. If I want to buy Apple stock, I can't negotiate the stock price. That's the price. If I want to buy Bitcoin, that's the price. It goes up and down, but that's the price. I can't negotiate on prices. It's not possible. Even grocery store. I can't go to the grocery store and go to Walmart and say, I'm going to give you 92 cents for this bunch of bananas when it says 97. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. The real estate, you can choose what you buy it for. Now, they're not necessarily going to say yes, and that's okay. In fact, you want to get a no. You want to get rejected. You want people to say, no way am I selling you this property for this price. That's good. And I know it might hurt feelings at first, because as you might know, I'm Canadian and we hate offending anybody. And I had to get really good at making very low offers without offending people. Just them understanding that I have cash, I need to use it, and I need to buy it for a lot less than what you're offering. And if you're flexible, I'd love to write you a check for it. And if they say I'm not flexible, I move on to the next one. And I say, if you change your mind, let me know. I have cash, come back to me. And then they start hunting me if they need to go down on price. So I want to be the flame and not the moth. I'm going to say this again, be the flame, not the moth. And it takes practice to do this. And I have tons of drills and exercises to help you if this is something that you want to work on. So, lots of information here. So we make offers on everything that we see, everything at all, and we don't hope it gets accepted. We hope it gets rejected. And we want them to come back with a number, and then we're going to play the game. And it is a game. If you look at this like a game, it's going to be a lot of fun, because it's fun to play games. And next is when we make an offer, we're going to use our contracts. We're not going to use our real estate agent contracts. Now, again, nothing against real estate agents, but real estate agent contracts are designed to protect the real estate agent and the seller, not you at all. If you're buying property with a real estate, the state contract, it is not going to protect you at all. You're going to lose money. You can get sued. You can get sued for not buying it. So you need to be really sure you're going to be able to close using an agent contract. And if you find something at the 11th hour that's wrong with the property, tough shit. Your problem. Now, the beauty of the contracts or investor contracts that I've created over the last 20 years is we're in control. We choose when the due diligence is going to happen. We choose every single part of the timeline, what closing costs are going to be paid and not paid, and how things work. And at the 11th hour, if we find something, if there's actually something that's bad, we can pull out and it doesn't cost us a nickel. We never lose money using my contracts. You can't be sued. You can't they can't make you buy it. Your earnest money deposit is always going to be refundable. Those things never happen in a real estate agent contract. And if you want your money back, you can get it like this. You don't have to get the seller's signature in order to release earnest money deposit. So it's a very strong contract that I've worked on for 20 long years, and it's very important to have the right paperwork. So we're going to make offers on as many things as possible. Once we agree on price, we're going to use our contracts. We're going to do all the necessary due diligence after we've checked out the numbers to make sure that it's the right deal. And we don't have to take a look at the property. In fact, we can have someone that's local that knows the area way better than us, and we get 3 managers to check out the property. Now, why would 3 managers check out a property on our behalf? Because they want the business. If I want to get my house renovated and I say, okay, I have 3 contractors that come in to give me quotes, do I have to pay a contractor to give me a quote? Absolutely not. And if a contractor won't give me a quote without paying them, guess what? No way, go away, get out of here. Not going to do it. I'm going to look for the right 3 property managers that are hungry for my business, that will go check out the property, and we have a checklist for them, which I'm happy to share with you. If this is something that you want to learn and do. Here's a checklist. Go tell me if the property is good or bad. They're going to do all the necessary checks, and I'm going to know within a general idea if this is a property in an area that I want to be in, and then I can obviously get a property inspector, which I'm going to need anyway, to go check out the property to make sure it's in perfect condition and what is wrong with the property, so I'm educated, and that's someone that's local, that's also a professional. There's absolutely no reason for me to be there. So by being efficient, by making offers, as many offers as possible, while someone else is checking the property, I'm already making an offer, and if that was a good deal, guess what? I got it before they did, because you can't steal in slow motion in this business. You got to move quickly. So, as you can see, my processes are very different than what most are. So while someone's calling an agent, I'm getting agents to find me deals. While someone is doing the research on a property, I'm making offers on a property, seeing if they're motivated or not motivated, and we're already going back and forth on negotiation. So while you're thinking about it or researching it, I'm buying it. I'm tying it up. Once I tie it up, then I'll do the necessary research to make sure the property is viable. It's not going to fall apart. It's not in a war zone. We never buy properties in war zone. If my daughter can't go pick up the rent at midnight and be safe, we're not buying that property. 0 chance of that. So if we follow the right checklist, if you follow the right checklist, you're never going to buy properties the wrong way. You're always going to buy it at the best possible price. You're going to build a team of agents that are looking for deals for you instead of you having to hunt for them. And you're going to have all the money that you need in order to buy all the properties that you're looking for and have a lot more fun doing it with absolutely no risk. And in my opinion, no risk real estate investing with the highest possible returns, buying the properties for the best possible price that are under wholesale, and optimizing my time is gold. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold. I can't wait for the next episode where I teach you even more things. Mwah.